Oh God, someone call the cancel police because I'm about to get canceled for this. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a video called Unpopular Opinions About Veganism. Now, these are thoughts and opinions that I have about veganism that I don't think the majority of vegans share. So I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm just keeping it real with you guys. We've done this video in the past before, and it actually went pretty well and sparked some interesting conversations and debates. A friend of mine, Healthy Crazy Cool Miles, has also done this type of video, so I feel like it's been a while since I've done one, and I want to do one again. So here we go. Don't cancel me. Okay, before we jump into my first unpopular opinion, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to save my most controversial opinion for the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. I also want to let you guys know about the plant-based bundle, which is a huge bargain. This is over 40 vegan and plant-based books, not all recipe books, actually fitness workout routines, baby books, all sorts of different stuff with some really high-end awesome people like Derek Simnet is in there, Nima Delgado, Bianca Taylor, Plant-Based Ben. There are loads of high-quality books, as well as both of my books, my recipe book and my beginner's guidebook. You guys can get that right now at veganbundle.org, and it's only going to be available for a couple more days, so hop on it. You do not want to miss this, because once it's gone forever. Now let's jump into this. Here we go. Okay, my first unpopular opinion may be the only agreeable one, but when a product says may contain traces of dairy, etc., 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 or it says produced in a facility that produces milk or dairy, etc., or meat, I do not mind at all eating that product. Now, when they do this for allergy reasons. They're not saying that sometimes they accidentally put like a gallon of milk into the product. They're just saying that in that facility, they also process nuts and milk and meats and other things. And so they have to say that for people who have severe allergic allergies. Because, if, for example, if a little bit of some peanut particles float into the air and then into your protein bar and you are severely allergic to peanuts, they need to make sure that you avoid that completely. But that doesn't mean that like they sometimes sneak in some dairy or something like that. So for me, that personally doesn't bother me at all that the same facility processes dairy and other types of animal-based products when the product that I'm getting is completely plant-based. Okay, number two, there's a lot of people who will like pull a fast one on their roommate or their workmate or whatever, and they'll make them like a plant-based burger and then give it to them without letting them know, and then after they eat it and they're like, oh, this is really good, then they'll be like, hey, gotcha, that was actually vegan, you thought it was meat, didn't you? And so in a way, I think it is helpful sometimes, because then the person's like, you know what, I wouldn't have tried a vegan burger, but actually this was just as good. And so now I know that vegan food isn't all just, you know, sprouted lentils and beans. It's actually really tasty as well. But I think this can actually cause the opposite effect. I don't think that you should trick people into eating plant-based or vegan foods when you don't know how they're going to react, when you aren't like best friends with them, or you don't know if they're going to think it's funny. Because I think that a lot of people will get irritated with the fact that you tricked them and get on the defensive. And because they get on the defensive, I think a lot of times by tricking them, they're going to be anti-vegan food, or you're going to push them even farther away from trying vegan food. Instead, I think you should just tell the person, hey, you should try this burger. I bet you're really going to like it. It's plant-based. Tell me if, you know, if this tastes like what you're used to. I think that's better, personally. Okay, so my third one, if I'm at a barbecue or if someone's cooking in an oven and they're cooking animal products or dairy in that same oven or the same vicinity as the plant-based food that I'm going to eat, it doesn't bother me. I'm still going to eat that plant-based food. A lot of people, you know, if you cook, I don't know, like some chicken in the oven and, you know, on the next tray down, completely untouched, you're having some vegetables or some tofu or something like that, they would completely avoid it. I personally don't see it mattering much. Like, it's not affecting the amount of animals that are being harmed by you eating food that's in the same vicinity as animal-based food. So for me personally, it doesn't matter at all if it's cooked in the same area. Okay, so this next one I think I'm going to catch a little bit of flack for, but I think it's easy for a lot of vegans to feel morally superior to other people. And I think when it comes to veganism and morality, I don't think it's a ranking system so much for me as it is more so like a spectrum, for example. When people are presented with new value systems, new morals, new perspectives, the way they react to those new things in their life, I think is a better judgment of their character than just like a snapshot of what their morals and values are at this very moment. I think the ability to adapt to change is a hugely important thing for, I guess, like ranking somebody when it comes to morals. For example, a lot of people, in my opinion, have never had the opportunity to look at veganism as something they might want to implement in their life in a very serious way. Sure, maybe, people have like kind of heard about it or something like that, but maybe they haven't had the friend, or they haven't had like, the YouTuber video or social media account or whatever it is that would allow them to really look at themselves, challenge themselves, say, is the way that I'm doing things the right way, or should I adjust to this new way? I think a lot of people haven't ever had that opportunity, so to judge them for not being vegan yet is the same as them just not knowing about veganism yet, and I don't think it's fair to judge people for just being ignorant to something or not having the point in their life where they've actually had to challenge themselves. All right, this one's gonna strike deep for all of my vegan mac and cheese lovers, but I think that junk food vegans are the most likely vegans to stay vegan for their entire life, but also the most likely of the vegans to experience health problems down the line. And I think experiencing those health problems won't shake them off the course of veganism, but I think it could present the opportunity for people who don't want to go vegan to, cite that and say these people are having trouble on a vegan diet, when really it's just because those junk food vegans aren't necessarily eating the most complete and adequate diet, and likely would be suffering from the same issues even if they weren't vegan and they were still eating junk food as an omnivore. So I don't think that slip-ups or mistakes should make you not vegan anymore or have to reset your timer as a vegan. If you buy some certain product that you didn't know had a certain thing in it, I don't think that you have to be like, you know what, I was vegan for 3 years, I accidentally bought whatever it is, and now I'm not vegan. For example, I think a lot of vegan cheeses or quote unquote, plant-based cheeses will have like casein or milk powder in them. Pop-Tarts has like gelatin in them. All those kind of things are easy slip-ups that people can run into, but that doesn't mean that you purposely bought those things knowing that there was animal products in it. You bought it on accident, then later somebody was like, hey, that thing has animal products in it, and then you avoided it from that point on. But it doesn't mean you have to reset your vegan timer. Okay, here we go. I think we punish a lot of people when they have doubts about veganism, when they voice the fact that they aren't sure if veganism is the perfect diet. And I think having doubts is actually a really good thing as a vegan. Having doubts about the healthiness or the ability for a plant-based diet to be fully adequate and cover all the bases is the first step to researching deeper. Instead of just going without ever looking into anything, now you have this skepticism, so you look deeper into what vitamins and minerals do I need to be careful about? What things am I maybe missing in my diet that would be an easy fix that if I wasn't skeptical, if I didn't have any doubts, I would never really look into. So I think having those doubts in veganism, or really anything, is a good thing to get you to spark that research, that craving for better knowledge, and it'll eventually lead you to having a more adequate diet, and probably honestly having a diet that covers better bases, covers more of your vitamins and minerals than ever, even before when you were omnivore, just because I think this causes you to really take a deep look into what you're putting into your body and how it's affecting your health on a day-to-day basis, but also on a year-to-year basis. All right, here we go. I'm gonna get basted for this. I think zoos could be okay if zoos would convert to being animal sanctuaries where people can come and see animals and get more attachment to them and understand that animals are not just like this thing, like a tree that exists, but actually, living beings that have emotions and personality types, and, even sometimes are like throwing humor around and joking on each other. So I think the way that zoos could do this is if an animal that they find, is trapped or something like that, for example, from some man-made thing, right, and it cuts off their fin or something like that, or if an animal is shot but survives, or whatever it is, right? If an animal is going to die when you leave it in nature, basically the same thing the animal sanctuaries already do. They take it in and they protect it for the rest of its life and take care of it in a proper way. I think that could be a really sweet change up of zoos where people could still go there and have a fun day and still like go look at the animals and stuff, but it would be slightly different because these animals need to be taken care of rather than, breeding animals so that your zoo is filled with exotic and interesting animals. I think it would be helpful for people to be able to still connect with those animals and be able to, understand them a bit more, which would then hopefully lead people to understanding that, all animals, even the ones that many people eat, are filled with personality types and shouldn't be eaten. All right, this is definitely going to start a debate, but I actually really think lab-grown meats are a good thing for overall animal welfare. Now, bear with me here. I think that when people start to eat lab-grown meats, there's going to be a lot less demand for, mass animal agriculture type meats like it currently is. There's going to be a lot of people, especially as lab-grown meats becomes cheaper, who are going to buy the lab-grown meat instead of the, regular meat because it's cheaper. And eventually, I think a lot of people won't even have the choice. I think they'll just go buy ground beef and not know that it was lab grown. Now, there is a huge debate. There's a big controversy about the way that these companies that are growing meat are sourcing the original animal tissue. So at the moment, I believe they have to actually source the meat tissue from a living animal. So they have to kill an animal, I guess, or take it from it while it's still alive. Either way, it's animal suffering. And so that's a lot of people's, opinion of why it shouldn't be done. Now, here's where the controversial opinion comes. I think the least animal suffering possible is the best choice. So I hate that they can't just synthetically create animal meat, but I do think that if one cow can create 10,000 or 100,000 cows worth of artificial lab-grown meat, versus just actually slaughtering those cows to get that meat, I think it is ultimately in the long run better numbers-wise for decreasing the amount of total animal suffering that there is. It's a topic for sure, and I'm sure you guys are going to be lighting up the comments below. Maybe some of you don't agree with me, but I honestly do think that lab-grown meat, whether you're going to eat it or not, whether I'm going to eat it or not, for non-vegans is probably one of the best opportunities for non-vegans to reduce animal suffering without them actually having to change their diet up at all. Okay, one more before my most controversial opinion, and that is that I would rather you go vegetarian than not go vegan at all. Or I would rather you go 80 to 90% plant-based than not consider it at all. I know this one, there's a lot of people on both sides of the fence. A lot of people are like, no animal suffering at all. Stop what you're doing, change it up, go vegan. It's not that hard, and you can completely stop animal suffering. But I do tend to be a realist. I'm very pragmatic about a lot of stuff, and I just think a lot of people don't have the discipline. A lot of people just aren't interested enough. A lot of people just aren't going to go vegan. Period. It's just how it is. And I think with those people, I'd much rather them be, see some sort of documentary or see some sort of piece of information that makes them go, hey, eating more plants would be good for me. What can I take out of my daily diet to eat more plants? Can I stop having that milk with breakfast and start having almond milk or soy-based milk or whatever it is? Can I, instead of having, bacon in the morning, maybe I can have, plant-based bacon or tempeh, or just skip the bacon, whatever it is, right? These small changes actually add up hugely if, 1 million or 100 million people do it. Even though those 100 million people aren't vegan, if they're 30% more vegan, 1 million of those people, 30% of that's the same amount as 300,000 people going completely vegan. So I think it's still a really positive thing that we should be encouraging, and never, I think we discourage somebody from making steps towards veganism, but not actually being willing to go full vegan yet. All right, here we go. My most controversial opinion of this video. Don't kill me, but I honestly have no clue what we should do about cats being pets, since a lot of you may or may not know, cats cannot live and survive off of a completely plant-based diet. So they do have to have meat in their diet. I have no clue what we should do about this. I have no idea what the best choice is with this, but I think there needs to be a serious, debate and discussion about what should we do with cats being pets? And also, what should we do to ethically source the meat for the cats, since they need it to live? It's a topic that for me is very sticky, and I have no clue how to navigate it yet. But I do think that as lab-grown meats become more popular, that will be one opportunity or one choice of how we could, still have cats, feed them meat, but it doesn't cause more animal suffering than is necessary. So it's a sticky one, and I would like to know what your opinion is. And also, do you have a cat? All right, there we go. I'm putting it out on the internet. We'll see what happens. Are you with me on these opinions? Are there any that you disagree with? Are there any that you agree with? I would love to hear your opinions of my opinions, and I'd also love to hear your personal unpopular opinions that maybe I didn't touch on, because I think this is probably one of my favorite topics because it just gets people so uneasy and on the edge of their chair, and people just want to know. So yeah, share it. And also, I'll definitely be making more of these videos because it's interesting, and I have a lot of opinions. I had to cut down the list just to make this video because I don't want it to get too long. So there you go. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up. Absolutely check out my free ebook that is the 5 tips that every vegan absolutely must know. I'll put the link to that free ebook in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Team me up, week. CT, heavy.